Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's edition of Let's Talk, presented by the Visiting Nurse and Hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire. As always, I'm your host, Anthony Knox, and today is a little bit different of a presentation. This is actually an organization that has not fully opened their doors yet for the public, unlike our other conversations that we've had, of organizations that have been operating for a number of years. Today we're talking about Divided Sky and the services that they're going to be providing in our, based in Ludlow, Vermont, but the surrounding area that Melanie will discuss with us throughout the presentation. So without further ado, I do want to allow Melanie to introduce herself and her role within Divided Sky, and then we'll just have a conversation here.
Thank you, Anthony. Melanie Gulde with Divided Sky Foundation. My background was working, originally I worked in an outpatient clinic as a clinician many years ago, and I switched from that to work towards working with criminal justice clients in the substance abuse area. When they were referred to us, it was always connected to substance abuse somehow. And then I left there and started to work for the New York State Unified Court System for 17 years. I was there, and I was running the treatment court there, felony treatment court, which was an alternative to incarceration for people who had committed crimes that were connected to drugs and alcohol. So that was actually a great segue into how I met Trey Anastasio, who is the founder of the Divided Sky Foundation, nonprofit. We are out of Ludlow, Vermont now. Trey got arrested in 2006 in Whitehall, New York, which was in the same county that I was working. He ended up on my caseload in treatment court, which is, just one of those things. I was not a Fish fan. I didn't know anything about the band. And there he was. And he went through the program. He did great. It was very quick. He was there about a year and a half, I think. Seemed like a lot longer for him, but we, connected through that first. And then after the program was over, he was invited to go to Washington to speak about drug courts. And the National Association of Drug Court Professionals invited me to go. So we went together with his family and really just made it like a cool day that he was in a great place and able to share his experience. From there, we kind of developed a friendship that grew over the years. And on his side of it, he was looking at, he's in recovery and he's able to do some great stuff, but he wanted to do more. And on my end of it, I was referring people to treatment programs throughout the state of New York, throughout, the close states, adjoining states. And some of the treatment programs were really great and some of them were not really great. And so I would send him a text saying, hey, when we open a program, we're going to do this, this, and this. And then he would write something back, and then it would kind of fall by the wayside, and a year would go by, another year would go by. So we ended up having a discussion at SPAC. It was the year 2019. It was that summer that we first started talking about it seriously. And he kind of came back at me a few months later and said, we're going to do this, and I want you to take care of running it. And I was like, okay, here we go. So then the pandemic hit. So everything kind of shifted a different angle, a different way. We did have a lot of time during the pandemic to talk about programming and, how do we name it and what do we want to do? And how do we raise money? So he designed the Beacon Jams, which was an 8-week residency that was live streamed from the Beacon Theater. It was really incredible. 8 weeks every Friday night at 8:00, and was viewed by 1.8 million people, and he raised $1.2 million, which was just amazing. And it also gave people something to do during the pandemic, and he was able to interact with the viewers, which was really cool. So some of them were having a great time and dancing in their living room, and some of them were not having a great, they were struggling and talking about addiction openly. And he would say, just, hey, don't give up hope. You can do it. Hang in there. So that allowed us to buy the building that we're in. So I'm in Ludlow it's 262 Fox Lane is where the building is. It used to be a women's healthy eating retreat for many years. And I found the building on LoopNet, which is a commercial real estate site, which I just was looking through, and I finally found this and went, oh, I have to see this place. And it's incredible. And it's got a view of Okemo Mountain, which is beautiful. It's a we're going to have 46 beds, 24 rooms, 46 beds. Guest rooms all have bathrooms and sinks, so they're fully functioning. We have a full commercial kitchen. All of this is being remodeled right now, so you may hear some noise in the background. We've had a lot of interesting finds within the building where we'll pull something up and say, oh, we've got to replace that underneath part 2, or oh, we didn't realize how this wasn't up to code. So everything's being brought up to code. We're installing an elevator inside the building for all the ADA compliant needs that any guest that we have will have, so that we're able to really invite anyone in who wants to come in.
That's awesome.
So I was going to say, so I think that brought us up to the remodeling finish. The goal is to be finished early June, I believe, is the latest. That means that the remodeling is finished, but that doesn't mean the building is ready. So we'll be able to put it back together, clean it up, get us staffed. I've been doing some interviews already for addiction recovery assistance, which is fun. A lot of local people have applied, and I'm thrilled that we can get local people to be employed here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So to kind of jump back a little bit. So I mean, you for sure answered my first question as far as how did this all get started, and obviously Trey a Vermont legend for a lack of a better word for this area throughout all of Vermont and things like that. So I guess my first question to kind of go back around, Trey wanted to start this, wants you to run it, everything like that. Was there something in particular that really sparked Trey to want to start Divided Sky, and whether it was based on his treatment that he received, and some of it, like you said, some being good, some being bad, just kind of across the board and things like that. Was there something in particular that really sparked this desire from Trey?
I think that I'm also a person who's in recovery many years, and there comes a point where we're good, but we still need to give back. And he realized that he could give back on a bigger scale. He would get, there's a lot of people that will say, I got sober because I saw that he can do it. And that's incredible. So if he can give back more, why not? We get sober and life changes, and we can do more, and we can help more people. And that's what it comes down to, is just helping people get sober.
Yeah, I think it's such a dire need everywhere, not just Vermont, and not just this area in particular, and so with Divided Sky, and I guess the other question is, so where did the name Divided Sky come from?
So that was one of our really long pandemic conversations, is what do we name it? And we batted around a lot of different names, and some of the the good ones were taken for other nonprofits, and some of them we didn't realize were strains of weed. So we were like, oh, I guess we can't have that one. And then he Divided Sky is a Fish song that he wrote many years ago, and Divided Sky Foundation just kind of came into from cloudy skies to clear skies, and how we can incorporate that name into what we're doing here. So that was the final decision.
I was wondering if it was the song that kind of triggered the name.
Yeah.
So no, that's awesome. So the obviously the primary focus of Divided Sky, based on what I'm hearing, is to help people get the treatment that they need to be able to be sober and stay sober, and do all those processes. Within Divided Sky, though, what services are going to be specifically offered for those individuals? And clearly by you explaining that it's a 46 bed facility, that obviously it's an inpatient facility for individuals, but is there also outpatient services that are potentially going to be available? And so just kind of walk me and the viewers through what services would look like for individuals.
So the original plan was to do the full detox medical facility inpatient residential, and we've shifted that. For a couple of different reasons. It was not, we have people locally who didn't want us here. They didn't want a medical facility right in their backyard. So what we were able to do was kind of tweak it a little bit closer to what we would prefer. So what we've done is we went through our nonprofit. So under the umbrella of our nonprofit, we can operate as a residential recovery retreat. So we've removed the medical piece of that. We've removed the insurance coverage. So we will not be a medical facility, but we will still have the same facility rules, the same programming. It's not going to be group therapy. It's going to be workshops, which I think the way that the programming is being designed will be better fit for us. So it will be an abstinence-based program. It will be inclusive of 12-step, not exclusive to 12-step. But the medical piece of that, we had to let that go.
Okay. And so, so with the workshops for individuals and inclusive of the 12-step program and things like that, are there also, some mental health services that are also being provided, or is that kind of all kind of works together in the goals that you guys are trying to accomplish with the individuals coming to Divided Sky?
So the way that we can have it in the facility is if somebody comes in and they have a therapist they've been working with that they're really connected with and they're doing great work together, what we can do is offer them telehealth from the building, but it will be the medical part of it will be on the therapist end. So we will still not be operating as a medical facility, but we can allow people who they want to continue with the mental health treatment. Same thing with medical appointments. If they need to be brought off property, we will take them to medical appointments. And the other piece of it is if the intake is going to be such that if the guest who is coming in is in need of detox and they don't realize that that's not a service we provide, we can offer them options locally with, Mount Scottney now does alcohol detox, which is fantastic. So I think that'll be something that if somebody comes in and they don't understand we are abstinence-based and we can't provide detox services, we will take them to where they can get those services.
Gotcha. So from your perspective, at least from an individual, they have some level potentially of sobriety that they're coming to just get the additional support and services that they need, as opposed to needing to come and have their system flushed out prior to starting to receive the services.
Correct. I think that will be a great place for people who maybe had been sober for 10 or 15 years and then had a couple of years where they weren't doing so well, and maybe they need a refresher, and they don't need to go through all of the cognitive behavioral programming that's in a regular inpatient residential facility. So coming to us, we can offer them kind of a refresher course and just say, hey, and not only do you have the tools, but we can also help you build a more stable foundation with some new things that maybe you hadn't seen there.
Gotcha. Okay. And so is there going to be any sort of an outpatient service that's being provided to individuals, or is it going to just strictly be inpatient?
Not yet. I will say not yet. So we certainly, I plans to expand are not in writing yet, but the goal is to get open and get people here and cycle through and then say, okay, what can we do next?
Okay, perfect.
Because treatment, and recovery is not just a 28-day stay. It's a lot more than that.
Right.
And the longer you're connected to people that are in recovery, the better your chances of staying sober long term.
Absolutely. So, why Ludlow, Vermont? I know you said that as you were searching for commercial properties, this one jumped out at you. But was Ludlow a specific place that you were aiming for? That area in particular of Vermont, or or just, how did that all come about?
It was the way that we talked about it when Trey and I first discussed it was upstate New York / Vermont, because when I was working in New York, I did refer people to treatment places in Vermont, which I knew, were close to where we were. We found this property and it was the perfect fit. The size of everything about it was just a perfect fit. The size of the building is exactly what we needed. It's not too big. It's not too small. And I do make sure everyone understands that the neighbors that didn't want us here are second homeowners. They're not Ludlow residents. These are their second homes. The town of Ludlow, the residents of Ludlow have been 100% supportive of us. And they were very verbal about how it's needed so badly to have more support here. And that has been a joy. They've welcomed us completely.
And Ludlow, geographically, Ludlow is in kind of a perfect spot in the center of Vermont, essentially.
Right.
I mean, it's very easy to get to. It also sounds like the views are going to be amazing with Okemo Mountain, right outside the window, to be able to see all of that. So hopefully that just also adds to the therapeutic experience that individuals are receiving while at Divided Sky.
It's a peaceful spot, and if there's no like hammering and nailing jackhammer going on, it's a very peaceful spot. And the way that I looked at it is, when we came here to look at it, it was a place that there was a lot of healing here with women who had, eating disorders, and they wanted to learn how to heal from that. And we're going to just continue on that path.
Awesome. And so is this, is Divided Sky specifically just for Vermont residents, or will you guys be allowing New Hampshire, New York, Massachusetts, all the neighboring states to be able for individuals to be able to come to Divided Sky?
I think our referral sources will be from all over, but the original plan, and this was another thing that was really important to Trey, is where he went to his own treatment program, his roommate was a local to that area who was there on scholarship. And he saw the value of that. And he also saw how he was given a little more responsibility. Like, this is your roommate. He's here on scholarship. He needs help with reading, and you're, take care of that, kind of help him out with that too. And that was important to him. So that's kind of what we're hoping to do here, is partial scholarships. Trey is the fundraiser guy. He, this is not his pocket money. He will go and raise funds, and that's where we'll be able to build and expand from.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I mean, and I would say, for fundraising in particular, I mean, having a name, like Trey, leading the charge and being able to do those performances. I mean, the fact of raising, $1.2 million from 8 live streams, is amazing, especially, everybody loves the experience of going and seeing him perform live, and, that whole thing. And, hopefully that fundraising can continue, and people are as more and more people become aware of Divided Sky, and how they can help and donate and things like that. Hopefully it's not just Trey's name that is generating funds, that people find that the services that you guys are providing are very worthwhile, especially for this area, and more people want to be able to support that.
Right.
And so how would someone, once the doors are officially open, how would somebody actually be able to utilize the services that you guys are providing?
Well, we'll have, intake set up. The website that we're working on now will have a direct link to our intake person. There's, a general question. If you need help, start here, which will take you into the website that we're using. Also goes right into the intake database. And then, if there's follow-up from us, that's where it starts. We'll have referrals from outside as well, but there'll be a direct connection through the website.
And I assume that you guys are, specifically in the area that you're working with, or at least getting information out to local hospitals and health clinics. I mean, obviously, in Ludlow, the Ludlow Health Clinic right there, which it can't be that far from where you guys are located. You've obviously already talked about Mount Ascutney Hospital and their programs that they have there. So how has, at least the start of developing these relationships with, with different health clinics and hospitals in the area?
The Well, you did mention Mount Ascutney. We are I've connected with Dr. Richard Marassa very early on, and
Yep.
he's with us every step of the way. I can't say enough great things about him.
Yeah.
The other piece of it that I've had time to do since we haven't been open is connect with the Turning Point centers. So Turning Point of Rutland, Turning Point of Springfield have been incredible. I love both of them. Those are the ones that we're closest to here. And we've been able to really get a great connection with them and see what they provide and, what kind of services we'll be able to get to them. Our guests, as they finish up programming, we're going to connect them to whatever community they're in and make sure that they're connected. If it's in Vermont, every county, I believe every county has a Turning Point center, which is fantastic. And those are the places where they'll find their people, whether it's an AA meeting or a different kind of support meeting, or whether there's services where they're ready to get back to work or ready to finish school, whatever that's the place that they'll get that help.
And I'm sure a lot of these places are probably chomping at the bit, waiting for Divided Sky to officially open. So
I think so.
So we did talk a little bit about fundraising efforts and events and things like that. And so Divided Sky actually has an event coming up here in later this month about to help raise funds, raise awareness. So would love for you to be able to talk a little bit about the event that you have coming up and all the pieces related to that.
Yes, I'm very excited. This is a fun part. The Divided Sky Fund Run is May 20th at Jackson Gore. This is our second year we've expanded all of the funds raised. And it helps me because we just talked about the Turning Point centers. They're split between us and also the Turning Point of Springfield and Rutland, because that was one of the things when I first came here. I saw these amazing people who work at these facilities, but they don't have a lot of funding and they don't have a lot of extra money. And this is something to just say, hey, this is some extra money for you to do with whatever you want to do with it. And last year's run, we kept it pretty small. It worked out great. Unbeknownst to anybody, Trey showed up that morning and handed out the medals. So nobody knew he was there until they crossed the finish line. And it was fantastic to see just the joy on people's faces, or people who didn't even know who he was. They just were like, oh yeah, thanks for the medal. So this year, what we're doing is we've opened the number of in-person runners to 350, which we've already sold out of that, but we still are encouraging people to register as a virtual runner. Start a group in your community, do it together, send us pictures because we'd love to post those on social media too. We also have a band, and I can't remember the name of it. They're from Woodstock, great band coming, and a food truck, and we have it's in the Ice House, which is the skating rink at Jackson Gore. Yep. We'll have local and state recovery resource tables set up with people from those agencies who are going to be handing out information and answering questions too.
Awesome. Yeah. So, the registration for the virtual individuals is May 5th, correct?
The registration for the virtual is open until May 5th. Yeah. And starting you know what? That's not true. All virtual registrants from the beginning until May 5th are going to be in the running. Your name is going to be entered into a raffle for a Trey Anastasio Trio signed poster. So we'll be doing that for the people that are doing the virtual run. Perfect. Yeah. So everyone has a few more days to be able to register virtually for the event and try to win that poster. And and I assume so it sounds like this is becoming an annual event that you guys are going to be hosting. Have there been any other conversations about any sort of other events that you guys want to try to have in the future? I think that one of Trey's biggest hopes is that he'll do a concert eventually. Mm-hmm. That will be like Eric Clapton does his Crossroads concert. That's I don't even know, a couple of days. It's a festival basically with lots and lots of different musicians. I think Trey would like to do something similar to that. Maybe not on that scale to start, but that's what he does best. So why not use that to raise funds?
Yeah, and I mean Ludlow. I mean Ludlow is such a beautiful place to go and visit and things like that. So if Trey's able to set up the concert right there in Ludlow, I think that will work out really well, and a lot of people would really enjoy coming in and being a part of that. So
Right.
that would be amazing. So. Well, so before I let you go, is there any other information that our viewers should be aware of as it relates to the Divided Sky Foundation? Just a tentative potential maybe date that you guys are aiming for to open. Anything along those lines?
I will say this, I've learned to not put dates on anything because they always change, especially with this project. It's been back and forth and back and forth, but I'm very confident it'll be within the next couple months of this year. We're looking, like I said, to wrap up the remodeling in June and then have the building cleaned out and updated with, we do need to get some furniture in, although we bought the building with all the furniture in it, which was great. So we don't need too much. And that's we're going to keep trudging ahead. This is the fun part.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, as you said, 2013 was when you guys, started these conversations. So, I mean, this is, 10 years, of getting this up and running, and, obviously a few years, maybe it would have been a few years sooner had the pandemic not happened. But, yeah, no, I mean, this sounds so amazing, just for those individuals that need the support, and obviously as a, born and bred Vermonter, I'll always love to, have something that like this, that is going to be in my backyard, to be able to be a resource for those, in Vermont and, surrounding states and things like that. So, you and Trey, are going to be doing a lot of really great work for a lot of people who really need the support. And, so on behalf of everybody, I want to say thank you guys for, bringing this to Vermont and partnering where you're partnering, with other great organizations. And, I think this is going to be great. And, on May 20th, the second annual, fun run, and who knows, it sounds like maybe Trey will pop in for that one as well. So.
Not that I'm aware of. That's my standard answer, is not that I'm aware of.
So perfect. So, well, Melanie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about the Divided Sky Foundation, and best of luck, and just well wishes for getting everything up and running. And
thank you so much.
And it sounds like they all the workers took a lunch break and made it nice and quiet for you.
I think so.
For this last half hour. So perfect. So, well, again,
thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melanie, and good luck with the fundraiser on the 20th, and fingers crossed that by the end of the summer you guys are up and running.
I'll let you know when we get our date. I'll let you know.
Awesome, and we'll from the visiting nurse and hospice side of things, we'll happily post on our social medias about when this is opening, and let everybody know.
Fantastic, appreciate it.
Awesome, thanks, Melanie.
You're welcome.